This conference will now be recorded.
Now, if this is the condition, then this particular text will be inputted here. So all these are conditions, and last conditions. So there are total four conditions. Simple. The condition is if your my skill level is less than 3, then I'm beginner. If it is more than 3, no, not more than. Okay, this is a simple condition. Okay, we can keep we can create it more complex. It is actually less than 6 only. So even if you give 1, okay, it will be it will check if it is less than 6, because it is also less than 6. So there must be two conditions actually. So for example, only I created that there is another condition less than 6, then it will elementary. Most of it would be actually counting as beginner only. Okay, but uh, if it is less than 8, then it is you can say less than equal to 8, then it is advanced. Then if the rest anything else which is not falling under these conditions, it will be actually engineer. So that's how we export. Let me check this. I'm really curious to see how exactly it is executing. So it must ask me the value. Let's say I give him okay, I given 7 and hit enter. So I'm in advanced level. So it's actually accepting it. So it's advanced is 7. This is advanced because it is less than equal to 8. Okay. So this is cool. We observe this. This is pretty simple, like loop conditions. How exactly we iterate within any particular text string. So this is the value which is Python, and what we are trying to do is we are looping through each and every item and printing it. So in that way, this is a very useful command actually, and various uh, logics we consume it. This is very, very, basic uses of programming is to, when we create a program, if it is one time activity, definitely we want. But when it is more than one, we generally create new program. So on that time, we definitely use loop. There are many more. We'll observe that in the upcoming sessions as well. And here you can see in a range, I'm actually printing it out that on the values, and here similarly. And one particular range I'm repeating 4 times. So this is the text I'm repeating 4 times. So that's how I can print multiple times as well. So let's create one more like let's continue. That is, we'll see what else we can actually create. So let's have it. So now we will again we'll see some more very fundamental examples. Okay, so most of this we are already aware of, but we'll see more fundamentals activity, very simple activities. Okay. First observe, then only see that fundamentally if it is clear, you will be able to understand, relate how programming works. So let's the simplest way to understand that it is nothing. It's a kind of a calculator. It's beyond that, but in a layman terms, how we can relate it's like it can perform a lot of activity depending on the library you are using. But primarily, what it is supporting is that uh, within the ID, generally we can calculate, we can uh, perform any logical activity as well. So here I will perform a very simple activity, which is, let's say, some kind of calculation, simple as per rule. So imagine I'm calculating, or okay, 8, anything, and to the power I can calculate with, let's say, this, and the entire value I want to divide with certain value, let's say 10. So this is a simple activity I perform, calculation. uh, I have given the value, numeric value I have given with the operator as well. These are called actually operator, minus, power, and division. So these are the operator we can use, and then if I hit run, it will actually give you that particular value. Okay. So similarly, we can do actually anything out of it. Okay. So that's how we calculate via programming. If we go back here, so if we simplify, simple, this is another calculation, correct? And but it is actually following the formula or the hierarchy of calculation based on BODMAS rule, and based on that, it is giving you that output. Okay. So yeah, another is if I give a particular condition, let's say any particular value, and I'm squaring it up, then what I'm trying to do is, let's say I am adding up with any value, then I'm trying to divide it. So this is normal divide. This will come in a not in decimal place. So if I give this particular value, the output will be not in decimal place. So if I click enter, see the output is not actually decimal place. But if you do this calculation, it will be definitely in decimal place. So very simple, but again, we need to, it's depend on where exactly we have to execute it and apply it. Completely depend on that. Now, next, very simple again, I will check. This is also very interesting command. Is like, see, every value definitely throughout the programming life cycle, we pass a lot of values, correct? Now, so, and value has certain types. Okay, very important. This is very critical to understand the type, because based on the type, we can perform, and we can perform various activity. So I will give that example. First, understand what is type. So there is a simple command. I will just add one, just a moment. I'll add one more row here, and let's say type. Now what exactly I wanted to type, or I wanted to check Based on that, it will help you to check the type of one particular value, whichever value you insert. So type, I wanted to check it on it. It will tell you that this is integer. This is integer. Okay. So integer means it is a numeric value. Similarly, if I say type and imagine I have certain value, let's say some value like this, fine. This is also number, correct? But in language, this language, any programming language, we call it float. So that it will highlight what exactly the type. There are certain why it is important, because imagine I can't multiply a text with a number, correct? So on that particular context, I need to know before doing any operation, I know what type of value it is so that I can perform that operation. Simple, okay? So why it is same time? Because I can multiply a number with another number only. I can't multiply number with the text. On that context, we need to know the input which I am giving is which type. It is same or it is different. So here simple. So type I can check float. There are any value you wanted to check which type it is, you can actually check in this way. Okay. Another is like you can actually convert that. So this is how you identify. One more I'll show you. So here we go. Let's say okay. So let's say I'm writing the name Ravi. Okay, and it knows if I execute. Okay, sorry, it should be in single quote or double quote. So it's saying string. So it is telling you that okay, this is a string value. Now this is how we identify the type, input type. So here if I can add it, so here we can add it. I'll say uh, okay. So you will be able to know this input type means variable type. Okay, it can be variable, etc. Okay, this is how we export it. Next, comment how we convert it. So we know it. Sometimes we need to convert it. What is the context? When exactly we need to do it? So, for example, there is some calculation we need to perform where actually we need in uh, integer value, not in decimal, means float. We don't need it on that time. So here I will say conversion. I can say or directly I'll execute. Let's say I have a value this and I'm doing any kind of calculation, don't worry, this, and let's say plus, I will say, okay. So by default, I'm adding with a decimal value, correct? Then output should be also decimal, am I right? Now this is the value we are getting by default. So let's say, I'll say a equals to this, okay? Now I can print a. So I go, say print, awesome. Now run it. I got this particular value. No, actually, I don't need this decimal. I need only the integer value, not the floating. So how I convert it? Now this is I know in float. So that's how now I can check that this day. So I will give example type. I can check what it is, what type it is. A. So it will say hey, it is a float. If it is float, then convert that into integer because I need a whole number, not a decimal value. So on that time, what I need to do is I will go for conversion. How exactly we do it? Simple. Whatever you want to convert, let's say there is a soft code, and then I will pass that value. Let's say a. I can pass this, and I can pass the raw value as well. No worries. Now I converted it, and if I run it, it will not show. See, now it is the will not highlight the decimal value. That's how we convert. So in certain places, okay, for example, any kind of it has also various levels. For example, okay, where exactly we can utilize it? For example, somewhere it's a kind of a whole number we require. Let's say number of ticket needs to be booked. Okay, so if number of tickets needs to be booked, it can't be decimal because of any calculation. Even if it is a decimal, I need to convert. I can convert like this. Just an example, random. Okay. Similarly, if I have a whole number, so now A is this, correct? A is 5643. I can convert that into float if I want. Simple. For that, what I need to do, okay, and then I will convert that into float and float A. And then if you run it, automatically you'll see that the value is in float. Simple, correct? Okay, so this is how we can perform the operation of any number. We can convert the number. That's what is I wanted to highlight. So how exactly we can convert a particular number? Not a number, any type. Now what else? What is the next activity we can perform? So I think you guys are already aware that so okay, couple of basic things maybe I should not like how exactly it works. It's nothing but a calculator only. So x equal to 2, then enter. I can say x plus 10. Okay. Then if I run it, what do you think? What would be the value output? Simple, it's like a math. So this value is actually accepting 2, and 2 plus 10 equal to 12. So let us run. We'll get this value. This is how exactly it works. Simple, correct? So the next one is if I wanted to highlight is a very simple way to let's say, so I have this value. Similarly, whatever value I have, I can actually in decimal also I can do the same. So it is in whole number. In decimal also similar way I can go. One is very interesting. People are curious what exactly it does. It is actually power to the power. Okay. So okay, 3, 5 power 3. So or whatever value I'll give, 5 power 2. Sorry, power time 2. So if you run, you see 25. This is power actually. Okay. So again, this all comes under operator. I will add the operator information in the classroom section here so that you can explore the uh, like how exactly operators and what are their functions you'll be able to relate. Now the next point is, so I think this is also clear, correct? How exactly we can perform the like operation, numeric operation. Now what else? Very fundamental, very basic. This is how it will give you context how exactly it works. Okay, so now okay, couple of things you need to know that you know there are certain best practices. I will talk about that later, but as it is, I'm just converting or highlighting the basic things. So just observe on that. There are certain best practices. For example, on the naming convention, there are certain best practices on how exactly we align or how exactly the alignment of any condition, how exactly we do it. So those are definitely covered. Just understand the context now. Another is so let me give you an example. So, okay, for example, one is always it should start with a small letter. In variable name, you use small letter. So if you don't know what is variable, don't worry. So it's nothing. It's a container where we can save any kind of value. It's an empty container. You can name it anything, and based on that, it will capture whatever value you pass into it in that container. It will keep that value, and then you can utilize wherever whichever way you want. Now this container is various types. Okay, so it can contain one value, it can contain a table of value, it can contain, okay, array. So I will highlight that. Don't get overwhelmed if you don't know anything on that aspect, but I'm telling that containers are various type. You can relate with the, imagine, Amazon packages. So if it is a glass product, the packaging is different, the container is different. If it is medicine, container is different. If it is like clothing, the container is different, correct? So similarly, the type of input will consume, the container types are different. Okay, those are called variable types. So we'll talk about that as well. We'll touch that. Don't worry. So okay, so we'll actually explore that part also. One very basic thing I wanted to highlight, for example, let's say uh, I wanted to say, in my program also I was even writing it. It's very simple. So I can't say, you know, let's say, okay, a second number. Okay, so we can't actually use it. Wherever it is green, imagine those are reserved word for programming. So I can't actually use. So second, this two, it is actually like consuming as a existing value, internal value. So what it is, I can explain. So for example, it will not interpret the second. So don't give any name based on numeric value. If I simplified it, you can keep it like, let's say, number only, or I will say sc underscore number. It's absolutely fine. This will accept. But if it is a number, it will not accept that. Okay, simple. It will throw an error. So if I give a, let's say, imagine, just I'm giving, let's say, fifth, and fifth number equals to, let's say, 45, and then enter, print this particular value, whichever I have. So this one I have. If we go back here, paste it, and if I try to run, it will give an error. Why? Because invalid syntax. It will not accept this value. Okay, just remove this and say, give any numeric value and just run it on. This is also I need to change. Okay, and always it should be in small case. Okay, keep it in small case. Okay, wait, something I not replaced it. Is it replacing or not replacing numbers? Correct. Now if I run it, see the result. So this is a kind of a, actually it comes under best practice, but it is good to know. Why it is happening? Because there are certain reserved words are there. If you use any reserved word in the naming convention, it will give you error for sure. And the error you can see, invalid syntax. So I will talk about that, how exactly we can study error and find our solution. That's a different altogether approach. How exactly, it's very important concept to understand error and solve it. Okay, so this is, I think, similar like I was using a numeric value. Similar like I can't use even a special character. So I can't use any special character also. The reason is if I use a special character, it will give an error similarly. So if I use, let's say, number, and after that I use any special character, let's say at the rate, okay, or let's say um, hash. So not hash, sorry, let's say dollar, any kind of value. See, it will be also an error. We can't use. Okay, so just to confirm that you are aware of it. Simple. Can't use a reserve mode, can't use a special character at this moment. Later we'll explore other aspect as well. Okay, so that's how it is on the little very small best practice which came in my mind. I just highlighted it. What else we can do? So okay, so number this conversion I'm aware, and now we know also the main part. So more in operator you can play around. More in operator. One of the activity I highlighted that, for example, okay, this is I already highlighted, so I was referring this one. But how exactly we can assign the values like this also, this is another way of assigning a value. So for example, this is another way to assigning a value. I can give x equal to 2, y equal to 3, z equal to 4, or else I can give x, y, z and this two three value. Automatically it will take that value. So I think I have already covered that. So yeah, that's a very important aspect. Okay, let me think of what are the basic things we can cover. Okay, yeah, so like we can also set any formulas based on our existing value which is there. So if I wanted to, for example, any value, any formula I have, and there is some fixed value, I can define it simply. Like let's say, you know, how I highlight it. Uh, so for example, there are some operation where the value is fixed. Okay, that I can directly hard code it, and based on that we can consume. But okay, that we can definitely check later. Another couple of more point I will highlight that this is very simple. These are all simple steps which you need to keep in mind while exploring this, because these are fundamentals. Okay. No. Now, what exactly we'll observe is how exactly. Okay. So we know about numbers. We know a little bit basic about the like naming convention here. One more thing I would like to highlight is that how the text work. So imagine I have a text value. So let's say, test. I'm just giving a name of test. Okay, test. Let's say test. Okay, center. Okay. Now I wanted to give any value, any place. Let's say anywhere. So automatically when you press a single quote, automatically it will say it has a start, it has an end. Correct. Automatically. Now sometime either one. Okay, you can use single quote. I'm deleting single quote, or else I can use double quote. And double quote also start and end. You can't use one single and one double. So for example, let's say test center is okay. Okay, now if I give this particular value, one is single quote, another is double quote, will not be accepting it. It will be an error. So understand, observe this, what is error. Okay, so it will not accept. Based on these error types, you will be able to identify if there is any problem. That's why studying these errors also as equally important as like executing it. So this is another parameter which you need to keep in mind. Now imagine, um, so I just wanted to say that imagine that there are two values I have. So I have, let's say, two values, two text values. I'm copying it, again I'm pasting it, but imagine I have Kolkata as well as there is one more value. Okay, one more value is there. So let's say, okay, any name, provide. Okay, now I have a sorry, I have this code. I am also again using single quote, correct? But will it be correct? It will not, because I have two value. If it is two value, I need to have 2 to 4, means for one each and every string I need to have two single quote, start and end. This is also text, and I have to have a start and end. Okay, then it is a valid value. If we don't give that, then it will be an error. Okay, but this is interesting. So if I use, like for example, let's say not this, let's say I wanted to write Kolkata's, okay, or let's say I wanted to write let's say someone's name, okay, Harsha, and then I want to say Harsha's, okay. I wanted to write like this. Now I have three values. By default, it is an error, and if I give this, it will be kind of a both text. So first understand if I run it, how it would be. Now I have to print it. Print. Ignore this test enter like alignment. Okay. So if I run it, you'll say this is how it is. But I wanted to use a first of yes. How exactly we'll do? Okay. So for that, I have to just delete this value, add it, and use double quote instead. Simple. So if I use double quote, automatically this particular value will come as this. This somewhere in a web page I wanted to print like this on that time. This is how we can pass that particular string in order to print it. This is a very good concept. Sometimes you may mess it, but if you have to give a special character, or let's say you have to highlight a plural on that time, you can actually do it this way. Simple, correct? Now if I explore further, I'm just thinking of what are the other concepts. These are all again basic fundamentals. Okay, these are all basic fundamentals. Plus text related, there are other operations also available, or is there, which we need to kind of explore. So a couple of more, let me highlight it. For example, okay, like now a little bit we'll play. Okay, so how exactly? Let's say I wanted to say I wanted to greet. Okay, I wanted to greet. So I say greet equal to, let's say hi. Simple. Okay, greet equal to hi. This is fine. Okay. Now if I print greet, okay, then I will get that value directly. So I assign this and I'm printing that particular value. This is how we can generate it. This is one way. Another way, directly if I write here only just okay and then run it, we'll see I'm getting that value. That's fine. I no need to go through print. Okay, directly that value will be also printing it out. Now, so for example, similarly in multiple way we can actually manipulate it. There are many ways we can manipulate and like represent this particular string operation. Okay. Now, what are the other aspect comes under text operation? Let me explore. So one of the other example which I can think I have already like highlighted. Let's say there are two value, and I wanted to do I wanted to highlight it. Okay, so let's understand some more context of it. Okay, so for example, I have greet already, correct? So I'm using this value only. Let's say this value only. Okay, okay. So I have this. Now I wanted to say it's greet. I wanted to say uh, for example, yeah, okay. Then I wanted to say like this, that print greet, and I'll print greet as well as I will add some other value. It can be any other text in double quote or single quote, no worries. Okay. So with 5, I can say, I'm just thinking, we can say namaste. Okay. I can say this. Now, if I run it, okay, you can see that both has disconcatenated. Correct. Now your question is, how exactly I can put a space here? What is the method I can follow in order to give a space? Correct. Now to provide a space, what exactly we need is primarily either we can use a like space, for example, like this. I have to add here a space by default. Then if I run it, you can see the spaces. So actually this space is actually consumed here, and you are giving this space here. Similarly, I told you one rule that text and number can't be multiplied, but it can be overruled like this as well. So it depends on the context. In general, you will not use, but it depends on the context. How it is? Let's say I have this value only. Greet. This value I have. I'll say, hey, print and provide, or this I want. Let's say X number of time. Okay. Now if you run it, you can see. So I have this value. That value I multiply by this